Thank you, Brother Isaac, for the song. Well sung. This song, Christians express the hope that one day we shall all meet in heaven. And we have that dream of a shore, the seaside, where we go for picnic in peace, in harmony, and in happiness. So this song simply expresses the hope that one day we shall meet. And hopefully we shall meet again in the future when Christ comes again. This sermon, God has asked me to dedicate it to the Obin family. It's not about the context or the content of the sermon, but we know the situation of the Obin family. And sometimes I wonder how Brother James gets the time to do all this work that he does. Immediately after Sunday, you see him posting who was absent, who wasn't absent, the time that he gets, the preaching, the sermon, and everything that he does. But we know this situation. My line of job has brought me in contact with families in the same situation. And that has broken families. And I have seen situations where the women have run away from the men and men become single fathers. I've seen situations when the men run away and the women, because of this situation, become single mothers. It has devastated many families and has a serious impact of the dynamics of the family. So it is important that we recognize that in all these situations, the family have remained stable and still committed to the work of God. I see my mother, Chewa. I can see that she has graciously accepted the situation and living with it honorably. In that sense, we all pray that God will continue to strengthen them and help them to continue with their faith and their work with God. Amen. The verse that we have read today is very simple. It is appointed unto man to die, but after the death, there's one judgment. 2 weeks ago, I think Brother Antiedu gave me this, and I look at it, and I said, what is this? Where do we go when we die? When I look at it, it reminded me of a sermon many years ago, again by my grandfather. He touched on this subject, so it gave me a sense to say, can I recook the sermon many years ago by my grandfather? And that is why I'm touching on it. And because we have taken time to give it to us to find an answer to this, maybe my sermon will help today. So it says, Hebrews 9:27, it is appointed unto man to die, and after the death, there's judgment. This sermon is mostly read in funerals. We hear it every day when people die. There are two aspects of this when we do it at funerals. It reminds the dead person that just as you knew that one day you will die, the moment has now come, and you are going to face your God for your judgment. It's also a warning and a caution to the living, those around the funeral, the body. You say, just as your brother or sister is lying today, one day it will be your turn. And what are you going to do about it? And it is important that we reflect on this. But the question is, what happens when we leave this mortal coil? Where do we go from there? The sermon or the verse tells us that we will die. But there are two aspects of this. When we die. Sorry, let me put on the glasses. This question that we see here, mankind has always been intrigued by it. Where do we go when we die? Many cultures have their own understanding. The Akans in Ghana, the Yorubas in Nigeria, the Chinese in China, the Indians, the Hindus, they all believe in life after death. So there's birth, death, and rebirth. That's what the belief is. But what do we believe as Christians? We Christians believe that when we die, we will go to heaven or hell based on the judgment that we receive. That is our belief. And that's what the song says. And that is our hope, that one day we will all meet. When I was young, there was a song, and if somebody knows how to sing it, please help me. That it says, "This world is not my home. I'm just passing through." Does anybody know how to sing? Please help me. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. Beyond the blue, the angels beckon me from heaven's open door. Don't feel at home in this world anymore. Thank you. That's the song that you die. And we see the angels beckoning us. And when we go, we will not feel this world anymore, because we feel that heaven is our home. What I'm doing here is just a journey. We will go back home and meet our God. So this gives us hope that there's something better. Yes. But this verse, that it is appointed unto man to die, and after death, there is judgment. There are two aspects of this. It says that death is inevitable. Everybody will die. And it also says that after the death, there is a judgment. Let me go to point 1, where it says death is inevitable. My grandfather in his sermon many years ago said, there was a rich man who lived, who was very rich, and he didn't want to die. So he made an appointment with Mr. Death. Don't ask me where and how and what his name is. Only my grandfather knows. Made that arrangement and paid bribe to Death. He said, don't come and take me. And Death took the money and said, you are safe. You are not going to die. So in his first sickness, he was sick, almost at the point of death. It's me, I'm not going to die. He got up. Death, no, because he felt that he had made an arrangement with Mr. Death. So he survived. Then there was another second illness. He survived it. Believing that he will never die because he had paid something to Mr. Death. The third one, he wasn't lucky, he died. And then when he went to meet Death, he said, what have you done? I paid you this money. Why have you taken me? He said, no. Nobody can escape me. I'm stronger than everybody. When it's your time, you'll be called. So the money you gave me was not a bribe, that is the money, take it. But I just want to prove to you that when you were rich or on earth, you were showing off, proud, arrogance. But there you are. Take your money. So death is inevitable. My wife's uncle's wife, too long. The woman was ill, went to hospital for months, got well, came to the church and gave thanks to God for saving her. 2 weeks after that, she died. 2 weeks after, she died. And it tells you death is inevitable. If you are spared today, the moment will one day come for you to succumb to death. Bill Clinton, when he was celebrating his 60th birthday, said something that touched me. He said, when I look back and realize that I have more years behind me than in front of me, I become humble. So he said that as you are celebrating your birthday, 1 year is added onto you, another year is also taken away from you. So he realized how powerful this man is, very rich, big politician, American, politician, head of state, but he knew that he is not stronger than death. So it gave me a mathematical theory that when 1 year is added onto you, another year is being taken back. So I said, plus 1 minus 1 equals y, and find y. Don't ask me what that answer is. See Brother Eduyeboa, he will help you with that answer. Death is inevitable. But we don't just die. We die to meet our Creator, to account for our deeds on this earth, to receive our judgment. When we talk of this judgment, let's bring it to the secular world. When you go to court, you are being tried first. The case is handed over to the jury. They deliberate on it and find you either guilty or innocent. So if you are going to meet our judgment, something is telling me that as we are on earth, as we are sitting here in our daily lives, we are being tried and we are being juried. So we only go there to receive summary of our judgment. God or the Bible summarizes the basis upon which we will be judged. We will be judged by the scale, and I'll explain later. By sorting, and when you talk of sorting, I think Ada Apiaje knows what it is. Where you work in the Royal Mail, they sort letters. That's why I mentioned his name. But the records that God holds about you. And this is what my grandfather said, there's a big book that everybody's name is there. And the records of your life on earth is there. So when you go in front of God, he's going to open that book. And by the way we speak to other people, what we do to our bodies, we will be judged by it. And we will also be judged by our deeds. Let me explain one by one. By scale, Psalm 96 verse 13 says, he will judge the world by righteousness and the peoples in his faithfulness. So the whole world will be judged. That is the scale of it. Nobody will escape that judgment. And the peoples in it by their faithfulness. So we know or we understand from what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. So let's take it. So the whole town, the 2 towns were punished. because of their sins. And that's the scale of it. And then we know Lot's wife, when she looked back, disobeyed, she turned into sort of pillar or pillar of salt. So the scale, very big, the whole world will be judged. And individually, we are also going to receive our judgment. That is the scale of it. So what is going on in the world, God is taking account of it. And the whole world will be judged by what is going on. By sorting, Matthew 25, 31, 40 says, the Son of Man will separate the sheep from the goats and reward the righteous for their deeds. So we are going to be sorted, brothers. When we go in front of God, we are going to be sorted in groups according to his own understanding of what individually we did while we were on earth. Are you going to be a sheep or are you going to be a goat? And we are individually going to receive our judgment according to our righteousness and our deeds. Which group, when we are sorting, which group we want to belong to, goat or sheep? He's going to judge us again, according to the records he holds about us. I'm sure we know this. You go phone an office, the bank, wherever. They just, what's your name, your date of birth? They put certain things out. They have information about you. You don't have to tell them anything. They have all the records about you. So, and that record is in that big book. When my grandfather said this, and I said, how big could this book be with all the people in the world? But your records are there. So whatever you are doing on day-to-day basis, the records are being kept. And you will be judged according to the records. Whether you are going to heaven or you are going to hell, it's all based on the records that you have. When you have the credit score, you go for credit, sometimes you don't get it. Or sometimes it all depends on your credit, the way you have managed your credit. So that is the records. When they refuse you, the shop will not tell you why, but the record of your credit score is not good. And that is exactly what is happening here. And that is my belief that when God opens that book, what's your record? What is your credit score in that book? By the way we speak, how do you speak to your wife, to your husband, to your children, to your colleagues, to your fellow brothers and sisters in the church? God is going to judge us. It is important that we recognize this and watch how we speak so that it will glorify God. And so when you go, God will say, you spoke very well, nicely to people. And we will be judged according to how we speak. We are going to account for it because Matthew 12, 36 to 37 says, every word that man speaks will be accounted for in the day of judgment. And by their words, they will be justified or condemned. So God will look at your words, how you speak. If you are going to face condemnation, or you are going to be justified, watch how you speak. In every situation, in every environment that you find yourself in, how you deal with people, irrespective of who they are, mind your speech and your words. This shows that the judgment will include not only your thoughts, but also the words that comes from you. Not only by your actions, but how you speak is important. By our bodies, 2 Corinthians 5:10 says, we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, and receive the things done in our body, whether good or bad. When I was growing up, all my fathers, all my uncles, all my grandfathers, those who took to serious alcohol and, cigarette and all that, they died too early. I didn't understand that, but now I understand why they died too early. They are putting poison into their system, damage all the organs, and so they have to go early. Are they going to receive their judgment based upon what they have done to their body? There'll be other things that you do to your body that nobody knows, but we need to watch what we are feeding our body with, because the body is for God, it's for Christ, and we need to respect it. So we judge according to what we do to our bodies. And so when you are doing things to your body, remember that judgment will come from that. By our deeds, Philippians 3:20 teaches us that people will be judged by God after their death based on their deeds. The judgment will take into account the motivations behind a person's actions, not just the actions, the motivation behind what you are doing. Not only the action, but the real motivation. God has read your mind. So if you mean it well, you mean it bad, what you are doing, it's not only the action, but according to the motivation behind the action, God will ask you. So, for example, I know of a guy who brought the wife from Ghana. There wasn't love. The woman already had somebody here. So he came, she ran away to her boyfriend here. So she came based on love, but she came and separated away to another man. So it's not only that separation, but the motive, allowing that poor man to spend thousands of pounds to bring her here. Based on this, she will be judged according to the motivation that he has. So, what I've analyzed here tells us that judgment is not only going to be the hard crimes, such as armed robbery, fornication, terrorism, murder. It's not only going to be that, but there are also things that God will look at. And that's what I've described. And I will call them, if Brother James will allow me, I'll call them soft crimes, because I know he will say there are no soft crimes. But on the basis of this, I hope he will allow me. So we talk of fornication. That's what we see, and that's what we think, that an armed robber, a fornicator, terrorists, they are not going to heaven. But there are also other things, soft things that God will judge us on. As Christians, as we sit here, we measure our good deeds based on the practical things that we see. So somebody's attendance, somebody's punctuality, somebody's commitment to the service of God, evangelism, arranging the chairs, you will say we are doing good. That is good. It's good that we measure it. We measure it because that's what we see. But there are other things that we don't see that also need measurement. This shows our love and commitment to God when we do those. But the Christian scriptures tells us that God says, if you love me and hate your brother, then you are a liar. So we could do all those things. But how do we treat our brothers and sisters? Now we know that when we die, we go to our Maker to receive our judgment. My common logic tells me that by the time we die, we may have already been tried and juried. Because you go there to receive your judgment in court. That's what I said earlier. When you go there, you are going to be tried and you are going to be passed on to the juries, and then before the judge pronounces his or her judgment. So I'm assuming that our day-to-day interactions with people, we are on camera and we are being tried. And the people around us are our juries. So our judges and juries are our wives, our husbands, our children, our parents, our fellow brothers and sisters in the church, our neighbors, our guests, our hosts, our work colleagues, staff we manage, our supervisors or managers, our patients, the nurses and social workers among us, our customers, those with business. They are our judges, they are our juries. So what they feel, what they say about us, what they think about us, God is receiving that. After all, what is said on earth is also said in heaven. We know the story of the rich man and Lazarus. When the poor man, hungry person, goes to sit at the gate, food is in abundance. What did the rich man do? Just the dogs came to lick the wounds. This man died in hunger. And we know the story. When he died, he went to the bosom of Abraham. The rich man died. Where did he go? To hell, which tells me that while Lazarus was languishing, in hunger, when the dogs are licking the wounds, he's saying something in his head. Look at what this man is doing to me. And the rich man received his judgment according to the treatment to Lazarus. And that's what I mean, that the common people around us, the people we interact with on our day-to-day lives, they are our judges and they are our juries. God will judge us according to treatment we met out to these people. I had a neighbor, and this is a true story. This man is full of anger. Full of anger. You cannot deal with this man. He used to have a pacemaker because the anger in him was so intense, it gave him some heart problem. One day, somebody came to park at a certain area. This man wanted to park there as well. So it became a rage. The man went to he was my neighbor. He went to pick a hammer to come to smash the other person's car. And as he was coming, because he's using pacemaker, in that anger, in that rage, with the hammer in his hand, he fell down, collapsed. When the ambulance came, he was dead. This is a neighbor, everybody says, what a horrible neighbor. What a horrible neighbor. What a horrible neighbor. It's God receiving some information. It's being transmitted to him. When we went to the church, what do you call it? It's a mass for him in the church. When we say, could anybody come and give what do you say? Testimony about him? Nobody stood up. Nobody stood up. And the daughter came in front. Please come. At least somebody has one person good to say about my father. Nobody. So he went, okay, if nobody's coming, then he is my father. And we children, we are proud of him. That's what I could say. Even the daughter knows that father wasn't a good man. That message, God has already got it. And we will be judged according to our behavior towards our neighbors. We know of a Nigerian leader who died many years ago. The whole of Nigeria was jubilating. Very wicked president. I don't want to mention names. Very wicked. And Nigeria will say wicked. That time, even the whole world was jubilating. Ghanaians, for once, stopped the jollof rice war and solidarity in with Nigerian friends, because they were all happy. It's because of the wickedness of this president. He killed people, imprisoned people, maimed people. And when he died, everybody was jubilating. What is the message that we are sending to God about this man, this president who died? It's in the book. There was a manager at Chase Farm Hospital who died. The whole staff were jubilating. People are laughing because I think they know the story. Some of us who are relating to the workers there, we were also jubilating because my wife works there as well. We were jubilating on behalf. So it became, I phoned a friend in a meeting. I said, have you heard it? That manager said, oh God, thank God. What was it? So that judgment is already there by the time you go. So that's why I say we are the juries, we are the judges. We only go there to receive the judgment. It's pronounced. The moment God opens the book, this is what you did, this is what you did, this is what you did. I've already received the judgment, the trial, and I've already received the report of the jury. Straight either to heaven or to hell. I know of couples who are wishing that my husband is dead. I can't stand him here anymore. My wife is dead. I can't stand her anymore. It happens. God is already receiving that message. So when you go and say, how did you treat your wife? How did you treat your husband? It is that. So the common people, our day-to-day interaction with people, we are looking at big things, but our day-to-day interaction with people forms what our judgment will be. So my big question is, what will your judgment be? But before you think that, remember, you are on trial. Smile because you are on camera. The judges and the juries are the people. The one sitting on your right, the one sitting on your left, the one behind you, the one sitting in front of you. He or she is your judge and is your jury. And how they feel about you, what they say about you, what they think about you, God is receiving the message and you'll be part of your judgment. It's not only about the armed robbery. It's not that. So what if you are a driver, a bus driver? What's your passengers saying about you? Or you're a minicab driver, what are your passengers saying about you? You are a tailor, you are a seamstress. What are your customers saying about you? And I'm saying this without any prejudice. The nurses, what are your patients saying about you? The managers, what are your staff saying about you? The people you meet in the market, what are they saying about you? What's your wife saying about you? What's your husband saying about you? The hospital, the doctors, consultants, what are your patients saying about you? It will be part of your judgment. So what will your judgment be? Is it by the scale? Is it by sorting? Is it about the records being held about you? Is it by the way you speak to people? Is it by the way what you do to your body? Or by your deeds? Or is it all of the above? When you answer questions, I think there's those questions. Is it A or B or C or all of the above? Which ones? I leave the answer to you. As a Christian in the Church of Christ, I leave the answer to you. I was dealing with a lady recently from Ghana. Somebody passed my name to her. She was saying a lot of things. My question was, are you still in Church of Christ? Are you still in Church of Christ? Are you a Christian? Are you a sister? She said, yes. But the way she was telling me what she's doing to people, I doubt that she's still a Christian. Let us reflect on this, my brothers and sisters. Let us not look far. Our treatment of people. We are talking about love. We are struggling to understand what love is. But I think what we treat our people with, the common people around us, will form the basis of our judgment. As you go home today, let us reflect and recognize that every day we are on trial, and our trial judges are the common people we interact with in our day-to-day lives. So we have to make sure that when we sing the songs, the one we sang, and the one that says this world is not my home, I'm just passing through. When we believe that one day we will meet at the beautiful shore, we are not singing this to deceive ourselves. We are not singing this because we are not under any disillusion. And when we sing these songs, let us demonstrate, let us feel that we are ready for our judgment. And are we ready? Is it true that one day we will go and meet at the beautiful shore and we sing together as brothers and sisters? Is it true that when we feel that this world is not our home, we are just passing through, and that one day we will go and meet in heaven? But it is the little things that we do that will open the gate for us to be in heaven, or will shut the door, the heaven gate, and then find our way to hell. May Almighty God bless us and feel and think. And the hope that we have as Christians, that heaven is our home, that is our focus. Let's do everything possible to achieve that aim, because it will be a waste of time. It will be a waste of our time to be here every Sunday, to be doing all these things that we are doing to show that we love God, and to find ourselves on the wrong way in hell, because we haven't treated the people we meet in our day-to-day lives properly with love that God wants it to be. God bless us, and let's live by the faith of God. Amen.